Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the next installment of the PWM Market Minute. My name is Cole Christian. I head up our investments here at PWM. And as a reminder, this video series is intended to give you actionable insights, peel back the curtain regarding how we at PWM are thinking about things in the markets, regarding portfolio construction, and anything involving the investment experience, ideally in a matter of minutes. Now, one reminder, obviously this is not a live call, but if you do have any sort of questions, concerns, here's the contact info to get in touch with us at PWM. You can always reach out to your dedicated PWM advisor as well. But with that said, it's the market minute for a reason. Let's get into this. A few days ago, I opened up my email and I found this article saying, hey, here is the outlook for the 2024 economic landscape. And that reminded me, it is almost market forecast season. So as we all know, around this time of year, closer to January especially, the Wall Street banks, all of the pontificators out there start to give their targets for where the S&P might land, what's going to happen with inflation, giving their guesses, their dart throws regarding what's going to happen in the future. We're about to be inundated with a lot of those, what I'll call predictions. Well, back in our mid-year update call, this is around July, we looked at where did the big Wall Street firms project the S&P to be on January 1st of 2023 relative to where it was at the date of our call. And spoiler alert, they didn't do a very good job predicting the future. The people who are getting paid millions of dollars, PhDs, literal rocket scientists, were actually revising their forecasts because they were so off 7 months into the year. I won't go down that route again regarding literal year-long market forecasts, but it definitely sparked a chord of some things I've been noticing. The past few months, I've actually been keeping my receipts. So what I mean by that is if something pops up in some sort of financial news outlet, I have been taking a screenshot. I've been saving it in my phone because I want to come back and hold some of these pontificators, prognosticators accountable. And so today we're going to look at two of those. And we're going to walk through what a potentially rational investor would have done with that information set. And it's not going to be difficult to see that following all these different swaying opinions of the future is not only ineffective, but quite exhausting. And so this first one on the screen is from July 11th. This is from Market Watch. It's an author quoting a market expert. The S&P is most likely going to correct back to 4,100. I underline the words most likely. Notice the language here, most likely, but not guaranteed. The language in these highlights and headlines is telling. But the very next day, so on July 11th, we have someone saying, look, this could go down to 4,100. The very next day, same news outlet, different expert says, no, hey, the S&P could top the 4,500 mark, but not for long. Again, underline the but not for long. 2 separate days, consecutive. You have 2 separate forecasts, both saying very different things, but also saying the same things. The language used in this, it could happen, not for long. What that allows is that author can sort of sweep away the accountability. And the point of this is not to pin down authors and experts and things of that nature, but I do want to highlight that these headlines and articles oftentimes aren't very telling. And more often than not, they're structured in a way that the person giving that forecast is going to be right at some point in time and or not able to be wrong. Because I said not for long. I said it could happen, didn't say it did. With that in mind, let's take ourselves back to that July 11th period of time. And this is the part of the exercise I want to walk through. This picture you're seeing on the screen is a graph of the S&P price from July 11th till yesterday around noon. Let's take ourselves back to that July 11th time frame. Let's say you open Market Watch and it says, hey, the market's going down to 4,100. Well, from this graph, you're probably saying, well, the market's already around 4,500. If it's going lower, I'm going to sell. And for a while there, you were feeling pretty great about that decision. Same idea. Let's say you slept too late on July 11th and you woke up and ended up reading the July 12th edition of Market Watch that said, no, it's going to go to 4,500, but not for long. Well, you may have said, okay, hey, when it gets to 4,500, when the S&P gets to 4,500, I know it's not going to be there for long, allegedly, I'll sell then. In any kind of market timing exercise, whether you sold July 11th, July 12th, the market went down and you felt great because the market got down to almost 4,100 and you were out of the market. Congrats. Here's the issue. When did you get back in? Would you have gotten back in? I know from human experience and working with humans every single day, as the market's going down, people get squirmy. They want to expose themselves to less and less risk. That's not a fault. That's our human nature. So what we constantly hear, and maybe you've said this, hey, I've sold, I'm going to get back in when things get better. And so my question to you, what would better have looked like? Market timing is a two-way trade. You have to get out at the right time, but also get back in. And if you follow those articles and sold right around July 11th, July 12th timeframe and haven't gotten back in, from the bottom at 4,100 till about yesterday at noon, we had a huge, almost 11% bounce back. So again, you had to have made really sure they timed it both ways, and that is very difficult. Let's zoom out a little bit because we're talking about a 4 or 5 month period. What you're seeing on the screen now is a graph of the S&P just over 5 years, and 5 years in investment terms is not very long. But look at the circled part of this graph is what we're just looking at, and look how small that is relative to the grand scheme of one's investment journey. Ideally, we have a long-term perspective and we're thinking about 10, 20, 30 years. So extrapolate that little circle across an even wider graph, and you can see how even when it felt like the market was bottoming at 4,100, all these crazy swings, relative to a zoomed out perspective, just a little bump in the road. Zooming out helps to put a lot of this into perspective. Here's what I want you to take away from this, is that market timing is not only ineffective. Now, it's not my hunch. There's research upon this, there's papers upon papers, but that exercise shows how there's not a lot of firm, concrete information to hold on to regarding market timing. So its ineffectiveness is also coupled with exhaustion. I'm sitting here breathing heavy about how many times we had to get that trade right. When do I sell? When do I buy? Is it good enough? Exhausting to do that. Which brings us to our second point. There is no crystal ball. There's no crystal ball. All of us can take educated guesses, use whatever info there is, but there's no crystal ball. No one can predict the future. Again, back to that example from our market call halfway through this year. The people who are coding, using machine learning, have PhDs in physics, aeronautics, are not even able to truly pinpoint where the market was going to be in 6 months. Another point I want to make is that your portfolio is not the market. Those articles you looked at from Market Watch, the S&P is going to do this, the Dow is going to do this. Your portfolio is not the market. The financial media, the papers you read, unless you've given your portfolio to a news anchor and have them read it, not much from the news is going to apply to your direct portfolio, and that is for a reason. We want you, especially at PWM, to be tied and invested in a portfolio that matches your unique risk allocation, your goals, your cash flow needs. And so because of that, those news headlines about the market's going to do this, it's going to get high, look, your portfolio is not the market. And lastly, the remedy to all of this, and stay the course. When in doubt, zoom out. Lots of noise in this 4-5 month clip. But when we look out further and further and further, 5, 10, 30, 20, there's a general trend upward for markets. Being long innovation, investing in multiple companies, that is the recipe for success. The amount of effort you would have spent market timing, when to get out, when to get in, it is a disservice relative to just staying disciplined and staying the course. We'll get one of these market minutes down to 5 minutes someday. You can tell I get passionate about this. I hope this resonates with you. Hopefully this gives you some calm as you are surrounded by the 24/7 news cycle. If you have any further questions, like I said, please reach out to us at PWM. But for all of us over here at PWM Planning, we wish you the best. Hope to talk to you soon. Thank you for watching.